Existence of great white sharks in the Mediterranean, marine biologist Ian Ferguson recalls an attack which took place here in 1989.
At about 10 o'clock in the morning, 3 men set off from Piombino, near to here, and they travelled out in their boat and anchored about 200 metres beyond this secca, or reef. One of the people on board, Luciano Costanzo, was a professional scuba diver, and his task on that day was to remove biological fouling from an underwater power cable that runs from the shore here. At some point on the seabed, whilst chipping away at this material, something occurred which we will never know. But what we do know is that according to the statements of the other 2 people on the boat, a good friend of Costanzo and Costanzo's son, the diver rushed to the surface and appeared waving his arms vigorously in a state of panic and tried to swim back to the boat. As he was swimming to the boat, the witnesses state that a large white shark, about 6 meters in length, appeared next to him, circled around, and then before Costanzo could reach the boat, it charged at him, attacking his left side, bit down on him with some sort of shaking, and then took him underwater.
Search and rescue vessels were quickly on the scene. This is the official police videotape of the investigation, never shown before in public.
We started the search immediately, but found only a few remains. The men spotted them after seeing a few seagulls pecking at something out on the water.
A depth rangefinder hangs in front of the underwater camera. The first trace of the unlucky Luciano was a single flipper. Just 10 feet from the flipper are his air tanks and weight belt, but still no human remains were found.
The belts attached to the tanks were still fastened. The weight belt was also fastened. It was as if the person had been literally snatched out of the diving gear.
The police team concluded that a shark had caused this gash in the webbing of the dive belt, and that the indentations in the steel air tanks had also been caused by the great white as it tore Luciano Costanzo out of his diving gear. Italy was gripped by shark fever. Extra divers were recruited to try and find some trace of Luciano's remaining diving equipment and, of course, his body.
When the divers came back, they told us they had seen a huge fish about a mile away from where we were. And they told us not to go back into the water. They were all as white as sheets. They had Mr. Costanzo's son with them, and he said, "There is already been one death. I don't mind if you can find my father. I just don't want anything to happen to anyone else." From what I saw, I believe that the attack was carried out by a white shark.
The official inquiry in Milan concluded that the unfortunate Luciano Costanzo had indeed been eaten by a great white shark. It shouldn't have been a surprise. At the turn of the century, the French magazine Le Petit Parisien ran a series of articles about verified shark attacks in the Mediterranean. In 1909, a Tunisian sponge diver apparently lost his leg, while in the northern Adriatic, 4 young women were attacked and one of them killed by a great white. Also that year, Messina, Sicily was devastated by a massive earthquake. 150,000 people perished, many of them washed out to sea by the huge tidal waves which followed. 2 weeks later, according to this Italian scientific monograph, a large white shark was caught by fishermen further down the coast. When it was cut open, they found the bodies of a child, a young man, and a woman. Preserved for posterity in gruesome photographic detail, the contents of the shark's stomach were all too readily identifiable as human. The Italian monograph remained unknown and unread by the international scientific community until recently. Scientists writing in Italian, French, and Arabic have known that there were white sharks in the Mediterranean for centuries and have recorded their findings assiduously. But these studies are unknown to the English-speaking scientific communities of California, Australia, or South Africa. That's why today's visitors to the Med are largely oblivious to the presence of white sharks.
I was out on my canoe, and it was a lovely day. I heard an awful bang, and I ended up in the water. When I came to the surface, I saw something moving toward the shore. From the bank, I thought a bomb had gone off. So I swam out to sea, and after a couple of seconds, I saw something which looked like a fish. And it was swimming beside me. And it was enormous.
The fish followed Ivana out to sea, but it didn't attack her. Was it a white shark?
The shark's jaws were about this wide. And it was following me only inches away. I swam away. A passing boat saved me. They say I literally flew into the boat.
This time the story made the English papers. The canoe Ivana was paddling still exists, and despite having been repaired, so do the tooth marks on its hull. For Ian Ferguson, this is hard evidence again of great white activity.
Having measured the interspace, in other words, the distance between various teeth punctures, individual punctures on the canoe, both here and elsewhere, it's clear that the individual teeth of the shark responsible for this attack were fairly distant. This actually tends to exclude a variety of shark species found here in the Ligurian Sea. And looking at these marks and having seen photographs of similar marks inflicted to surfboards and fiberglass rescue boards in California, I would say with some confidence that the animal responsible for this attack, bearing in mind Ivana's description of it, was Carcharodon carcharias, the white shark.
Shark bites. If you want to avoid a shark attack, which beach should you avoid as well? Surfers beware. There's more Shark Week action on the way next. At Amanzimtoti Beach, which is located in South Africa, that's about one attack every 5 years. Stay tuned for your chance to win in the Mark of the Shark Watch and Win game on the Discovery Channel.
Since 1909, 40 people have been directly attacked by white sharks in the Mediterranean.